Joining us now is Doug Flegg, the Business Development Director of Reunion Gold. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you. All right, welcome.
Now, Oko West, it's in Guyana. It's a very significant resource, potentially, according to your CEO. One analyst called this the discovery of the year. So can you give us a brief overview?
Yeah, we're all very excited about it. Oko is in Guyana, as you mentioned, west of the capital of Georgetown. It's actually part of an old historic alluvial mining camp that has been mined for decades, but no one ever really looked for the hard rock source until recently, when the alluvial mining started to die down and the landowners made it available for companies like us to acquire land positions and start to apply modern methods to look for potential gold deposits. And we were fortunate enough to be able to find one there, and so far we've outlined about 2.5 kilometers of continuous gold mineralization and in a successful deep test down to 575 meters deep. So that's what's got the market interested.
Right, and you've been drilling fast and furious. You had 6 rigs, you have 6 rigs on the go, and you pushed out your maiden resource. So again, looking at some analyst research, one of them thinks that you may have as much as 3 million ounces. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think the range of analysts' estimates are, in terms of potential of the Karuni zone, which is that northern 2.5 kilometers, is, the average is probably in the 3 to 5 million ounce range. As you said, we pushed the resource out because we drilled a hole down to 575 meters. Most of the drilling at that point this point is down to maybe 350 meters, so there's still a lot of runway. We didn't think it made sense to come out with a resource when we had that sort of potential, near-term potential.
Right, you want to keep drilling deeper.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you've got an alliance with Barrick, whereby if they designate a project to feasibility, they'll solely fund that. And then you get a 30% stake. Reunion does. What are the advantages to an alliance like that?
Well, at the time we entered into the alliance, it was a time of difficulty to raise capital, so they put an investment into the company in return for the alliance. So that was one advantage at the time. On an ongoing basis, again, they pay it's 50-50 joint venture, so they pay 50% of the exploration costs. So again, it helps us out from a financing point of view. And they also, being a big company, they have a lot of expertise that they can bring to bear. So they bring, they can help us out in terms of their knowledge of exploration and techniques and things like that. And also, when they join us in a project, it brings some credibility to the project.
Right, for sure. All right, so the plan for next year is keep drilling Oko West and some of the other areas that you have onto the resource estimate and then feasibility. That's that kind of the story?
So we're not really pushing toward a feasibility or a PEA. We are moving toward a resource estimate at some point, probably next year. As I said, the reason we've delayed it is because we feel we've got a lot of low-hanging fruit to drill, and it doesn't make sense to stick the pin in before we've had a chance to kind of put our arms around what we think is there. So we'll continue to drill out the resource envelope next year. We're hoping that we'll be able to complete that in end of Q1 or sometime in Q2, and then we'll decide what the appropriate timing for resource is. In terms of engineering studies, we're doing more metallurgy work, we're doing geotechnical work, we're doing environmental baseline studies. So we're doing all the work that we would need to ultimately do a feasibility study as we go through the piece, but we don't plan on doing an actual feasibility study until we feel where we're going to be in terms of our total resource.
Right, that makes sense. You're just following the process, and you're excited about what you're finding. Just lastly here, the shares are up about 160% the last year, last I looked, or at least this year rather. But even at that, do you think the stock is undervalued?
Well, I think that the stock has been reasonably accurately reflecting recently, as we've gotten the story out, where we probably are today in terms of our ounces. We make available our drill data on the website, so analysts and sophisticated investors can follow along, run their own models on what they think the resource is at this point. So I said the analysts are kind of 3 to 5, so we still have that potential to get to the higher end of that range. And we also have 2 other really interesting targets. The 2.5 kilometers is part of a 6-kilometer long trend. So we're just starting to look at that southern 3.5 kilometers. And we have a really interesting target to the west that has all these alluvial mining workings coming off of it that we haven't yet tested. So those are the sorts of things that will provide upside going forward.
Great, lots to look forward to.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
All right, my pleasure.
Okay, Doug Flegg from Reunion Gold.